Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for a deep dive on a bit of a tough subject? We're going to be looking at driving regulations and dementia.
Yeah, a sensitive topic for sure, but so important, especially when we're talking about folks with moderate dementia. That stage where things get a bit.
More complicated.
Exactly.
You've given me some pretty interesting stuff to dig into here. Looks like we've got, direct experiences from people, maybe even some California DMV stuff.
Should be interesting.
Let's do it. So from what I'm seeing, a lot of states put the brakes on driving when someone has moderate to severe dementia, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, it's pretty common. Think about it. Your cognitive skills, they're essential for safe driving, right?
Right.
Judgment, reaction time, all that,
And those are the things that dementia really messes with.
sadly. Yeah.
Man, that's got to be a tough conversation to have, no matter where you live.
Oh, incredibly tough. Can you imagine having to tell someone they can't do something they've done their whole life? Something that represents freedom and independence? Oh, absolutely not. My grandfather, he failed his driving test a while back, just age, not dementia, thankfully, and he was crushed. I can't imagine if it were permanent.
Right. It really hits people hard.
Yeah. But I was looking at the stuff you sent, and it seems like California is especially strict.
Yeah, they're definitely on the stricter side.
What's the deal there?
So California basically says if you have moderate dementia, you're done driving. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Seriously? Wow.
And get this, doctors in California, they're legally obligated to report those diagnoses to the DMV. Like, they have to. It's the law.
Whoa. That's intense. So it's completely out of the family's hands at that point.
Pretty much.
Was there some awful accident that made them change the law?
Not one specific event, no. But there was a lot of research coming out, data piling up, showing a real increase in accidents, especially wrong-way driving, linked to dementia. So they decided to act.
Interesting. Data-driven policymaking. I like it. But that puts doctors in a really tough spot.
You said it.
I mean, patient confidentiality is huge, but then there's the whole do no harm oath they take. It's a rock and a hard place.
Totally. It's a huge ethical debate. Some people say it undermines the trust between doctors and patients, that people might not seek help if they're afraid of losing their license. And then others argue it's totally necessary to keep everyone safe on the roads.
Ugh, yeah. No easy answers there.
Nope.
And, speaking of those tough conversations, caregivers are often the ones who have to deal with this stuff firsthand, aren't they?
Absolutely. They're often the first ones to notice those little signs, like maybe their loved one starts getting lost on drives they've done a million times, or there are more fender benders, or they get super anxious behind the wheel.
Right, those little red flags.
Yeah, exactly. And it often falls on them to have those hard conversations about maybe giving up the keys. And let's be real, they often don't have a lot of support for themselves during that process.
So what can they do? Besides just talking, are there any resources for caregivers?
Oh, for sure. Thankfully, there are. Groups like the AARP have fantastic resources, specifically for people taking care of drivers with dementia. Like, they give you tips on how to have those difficult conversations, advice on finding other ways to get around, even legal help if they need it.
That's awesome. Knowledge is power in these situations, for sure.
Big time.
It sounds like this whole driving and dementia thing is such a minefield to navigate, even with resources.
That's true. It's complicated.
We've only really scratched the surface here.
We have.
So everyone listening, please do your research. Your local DMV is a great place to start. And of course, talk to your doctor or healthcare professional to figure out what makes sense for your specific situation.
Absolutely. They're your best resources for sure.
Okay. Before we wrap up, one last thing to think about. With all the technology we have these days, what if we could design self-driving cars just for people experiencing cognitive decline? Like, could that be part of the solution down the road?
That's fascinating.
Something to chew on, right?
Definitely something to ponder.
All right, everyone. That's all the time we have for today's deep dive. As always, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.